So, hello and welcome to Work Reconstructed, a podcast on understanding more about entrepreneurship and also the future of work in the digital age. And to kick things off, we're delighted to have Callum Adamson here, the founder of Distributed. How's everything going, Callum?
Going very well. Thank you, Glenn. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's always a pleasure to speak to you. And with your sort of unique view of the sector, what's actually sort of happening at the moment, and sort of the key changes taking place, but also the speed with which things are going on. It's great to have you. And, I think it's one of the things that's always interesting these times to talk about entrepreneurship is to get a little bit of a view as well about, everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but you have this very sort of very specific role and journey you've had. You've built up this multi-million-dollar company from scratch, and it'd be great for you to sort of share some of the main lessons that you've learned along the way, both good and bad.
Yeah, sure, I can get into that. First of all, thank you. You're very kind in saying that I've built this up from scratch, but the main lesson is if you want to build anything significant, you will not be doing it alone. The team is the most important thing. The biggest lesson I've learned is that the quality of your team will define the quality of your company, customer experience, the end product, so on and so forth. It will define the quality of your life too. when you wake up every morning, are you excited to work with these people, to affect change with these people, to build a business with these people? So team is the biggest lesson I've learned. If there's a follow-up to that, it's just make sure you're in love with the problem you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
Not the solution you think is needed. I see that a lot. I see people thinking, I've got this great idea for an app, rather than this problem needs solved. I'm really frustrated by this thing that keeps happening. I hate this experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
A lot of people are very solution orientated rather than problem focused.
Yeah. So it's almost sort of that sort of outside in approach. It's kind of looking at sort of the broader sphere of the what are the pain points, what needs to be solved, then set about achieving that goal and actually solving the problem, as opposed to what am I good at, what would I like to do, and starting from the other way around.
Yeah, or is this just something cool that I'm excited to build? The problem, this door keeps opening by itself. Okay, how do we solve the problem? Okay, we could nail it shut. Okay, let's check with the users if they want that. Well, no, because they want to be able to use the door. Okay, we could change the hinges. But it's like there's many ways to solve a problem, but as long as you're solving the problem in a way that delights the user, that the users feel works for them, you're going to build a great company, right? What else? What's important? Understand your customers well, your customer needs and requirements. We're a B2B enterprise platform, and it's different from being a direct to consumer or a software company. Our customers have different needs. They're invariably large companies with many different departments, which means there's many different people that are actually buying your product or service, and articulating the value created and making yourself easy to purchase from all of those buyers is very, very important. So don't just understand how you solve the problem, understand how your solution is bought, is integrated, is delivered, cascades through the business that you're working with.
I can imagine with a lot of sort of larger enterprises, they have a lot of legacy systems, a bit of bolt-ons here and there. So that integration piece is absolutely key with from a technological perspective, but also from a solution perspective, how this actually sort of fits in with the overall piece.
It's you're talking, most of the companies we work with are like 50, 100, 150 years old. They've been building, it's like Rome, right? They've been building on the streets for a long time. And there's a lot of architecture there. There's a lot of infrastructure, some of it old, some of it new, some of it nobody knows anything about. And it's the hardest part about serving enterprise organizations. And it's not a bad thing. It's just a fact of life. Old, large established companies have a lot of quirks and nuances and idiosyncrasies that you need to understand in order to serve the enterprise well.
Yeah.
It takes time. The longer you serve enterprise, the more of these businesses you work with, the better equipped your company becomes at servicing them, and the more value creating for the customer.
And does that create its own sort of marketing and branding in itself there, Callum? The fact that you've got these large organizations that will put your trust in Distributed, that's sort of a hallmark, a seal of approval, if you will, that you can negotiate the big complex players in the space.
Yeah, it is. It creates a bit of defensibility as well for the organization. Like when you look at the problem we solve, so it's very difficult for large enterprises to access the right quality of talent within the right time frames at the right cost. A solution to their problem is to use freelancers, so on-demand talent at scale, globally distributed, because 50% of all talent is freelance, right? 50% of all talent is self-employed. That involves recruiting, qualifying, onboarding, managing, securing their systems, paying them, and retaining them. That's a lot of stuff that that has to go on. Giving enterprises the ability to do that in a vertically integrated solution with full transparency, really scalably, really predictably, is massively beneficial for them inside their organizations. And that was always our goal at Distributed. I would say the first 3 years were understanding how those systems needed to be built to work for enterprise organizations. And the last 3 years of building the company have been scaling those systems so that they're robust, predictable, transparent, and they are cost effective for enterprises. It takes a lot. So you can understand the problem that you're trying to solve. Building the infrastructure to solve it repeatably within large organizations, that takes and I don't think there's a shortcut. I think it's just do the work, Yeah.
And also a lot of pivoting on the way, sort of feeling the pain points, trying stuff, see what works out, and then be able to change tack when you find out that maybe you read a dead end or something that's not working as expected.
Yeah, it's the same problem any new business, any disruptive solution is going to have. You're in a maze with an egg timer running. So there's an hourglass ticking down, and you have to solve the maze before the hourglass gets to the bottom.
Yes.
It's like, oh, dead end, oh, wrong turn. This is the long way. Like it's just a lot of those, which then you see cascades down to the better your team are suited to solving the problem you're trying to solve, the more chance you have to get into the other side of the maze before the hourglass drops.
That's a beautiful way of putting it, actually. And I think usually those time frames are shorter now, that the runway of companies with sort of no free money anymore, VC market being much more complicated, that you need to sort of fail fast, but also find your way through that maze much more quickly before you sort of the egg timer, definitely the last run through.
Yeah, I think for investment, I think the value on the other side of that maze is enormous when you serve the B2B enterprise space. And that's the space that I enjoy working in most. So I think there will always be, excuse me, Glenn, there will always be investors that want to fund companies in that B2B enterprise market. The valuations may have slightly changed. And Distributed, we've never raised it at crazy valuations. Up to this point, we've always kind of raised in line with market comparables. We're not in a dangerous position, and we're firmly on the path to profitability at the moment. So we're excited about the future and the value that we're creating. The main exciting point with Distributed, and this should be for any entrepreneur or potential entrepreneur watching, is to envisage improving the world by delivering this solution to a problem. To take that idea from a sketch on a notepad to, like you said, multi-millions in revenue being generated, creating the value that you wanted to see in the world for freelancers and for businesses. and to taking over past the profitability point, that means this change is now forever. The industry has changed, the market has changed. This is now the way the enterprise organizations compose their workforce. This component of the on-demand component is being served profitably and scalably infinitely now. I think that's that last stone on top of the pyramid of excitement. Building a startup. When you can put that capstone on, then you're there.
It really is, and it's not just the capstone for enterprise, but it's also for the open talent as well. Because, as you say, so much of the talent, particularly in this sector, is freelance, is open, and increasingly so. So the whole idea of trying to put sort of the round peg in the square hole and force them into a 9 to 5 days a week contract with one employer is never going to work. You're the one who actually brings the skills, knowledge, and expertise to where it's needed on its own terms. So I think this facilitation role as well can never be underestimated, Callum.
But sorry, Glenn, your audio is strangely compressed. I'm missing every second word at the moment.
All right. Oh, sorry about that. Well, no, just saying about the fact that given the fact that open talent is so open and is increasingly going that way, we've got this element now that bringing the knowledge, skills, and expertise to enterprises through the sort of filter distributed is something that should never be underestimated, and it's just growing in value.
It is. You might want to take off your noise reduction. I think the microphone thinks that your voice is background noise.
All right, I see. Okay.
And it's muting you, basically.
All right, okay. I'm too loud for the speakers. There we go.
Now you're fine. I mean, this is why you bring high quality talent into the organization, right? Exactly. They can diagnose the problem faster. You were asking about the transformative properties of open talent, using open talent in the enterprise. It's okay. If you look at just kind of the delta of common sense throughout the world, right? Organizations are looking to build higher quality products as cost effectively as possible so that they can deliver delightful experiences to their customers. If, half of all talent is freelance, and even just the basic cultural components of a freelancer, how highly they regard their work, how high quality their performance has to be, not only from an end delivery perspective, but their communication, their problem solving, their team fit, their compatibility with their colleagues. You could argue that this other 50% is higher quality than the 50% that's permanent within your organization, because they have more at stake and they have more skin in the game. So if you're looking to build technology products more cost effectively, at a higher quality, using talent that you don't have to carry the overhead for, everybody's future has to contain an open talent component. If not, they simply will not be able to compete with companies that do. It's a real common sense approach to workforce composition.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is something that's growing all the time as well. And it's those efficiency gains that we talked a little bit about before. I think it's trying to sort of build on that more than anything else. And building a digital business is always a sort of a key point, but it's obvious with more and more sort of the talent going towards your platform as well. You've actually sort of hit the nail on the head and uncovered something that's matching both sides of the equation very nicely.
But our offering's always been really, really simple. We exist to provide freelance careers. I was a freelancer for 10 years. And it's the thing that will attract all of the best talent towards your organization. If you can take away the pain of being a freelancer, so financial planning, business development, customer interactions, documentation, invoicing, if you can take away all that sort of stuff, of course, as a super high quality freelancer, what I care most about is delivering fantastic work. All of that halo admin is really just the burden that I shoulder so that I can have control over my career and my working environment and the things that I work on. If you can solve the pain of halo admin, I'm yours, and I'll stick around and I'll do great work, and I will feel
Yeah.
valued and appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny, isn't it, Callum? We're seeing this, the kind of opposite. That people have always said, oh, well, freelancing, it's a very risky career choice. It's very much up and down. There's no security there. It's actually been turned on its head by having actually sort of different projects, activities on the go, projects which actually build up your knowledge and expertise very, very quickly. That's also more secure than a traditional 9 to 5 job these days, particularly when we're seeing more and more sort of layoffs, changes within the sectors. It's kind of the whole narrative is proven to be the opposite of what it was traditionally seen to be.
I've never ascribed to that narrative, to be honest with you.
But a lot of people have. A lot of industries
and for sure.
Yeah.
We did a distributed LinkedIn Live a couple of weeks ago with a couple of members of our Elastic team. The focus was about building a freelance career, and one of the conversation points was, what's the scariest part about going freelance for the first time?
Yeah.
Like, what do you need to be aware of? And all three of us said the thing that is not what everybody says it is, oh, you don't know where your next piece of work is going to come from. When you work in the digital space, specifically in the software development and software product development space, there is never going to be a week where you don't get offered another contract as a freelancer, either in your existing role or for any number of the companies that are trying to build a software product out there. Yeah. I can understand there being an uncertainty and unpredictability if you're a freelance journalist, or what other sector do I think that there might be trouble in? Not the medical sector, not the trades. So not carpentry, plumbing, or construction. You'll never be out of a job there. You'll never be out of a job in the digital sector.
Yes.
I'm struggling to find a sector where your income is going to be at risk or highly unpredictable or spiky and trophy. But I have not met a freelancer that is struggling to find work in the digital sector. Certainly not a freelancer that is good at what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I think that's a myth. I think it's BS. Right. It's a convenient thing to say, you know.
But on the opposite side of that, I think there is more of a scariness, if you want to call it that, in the sort of traditional job market with layoffs, restructuring, speeding up like that. That the whole idea that sort of a job for life, a 9 to 5 job gives you stability. I think that's sort of the rug's been pulled under that argument.
I think that the truth of that phrase ended in the 90s.
Right.
It ended with the sharp growth in the adoption of the internet and technology products.
Yes.
The speed at which this industry builds and transforms and re-architects itself is directly comparable to kind of how your career is going to shape itself. It's going to be transforming. It's going to be augmenting, adopting, and growing and changing. Change and the rate of change is a constant, but it's also kind of compressed now. This. I mean, you look at the rise and adoption and impact that AI has had. This year. So this job for life, the security of a 9 to 5. Sure, there's a sense of it, but it's no more secure than being a freelancer.
Absolutely, Don. I think that's a great point we need to pick up on there, Callum, because it was less than a year ago that sort of the first mass market iterations of ChatGPT came out, and just now we're at sort of version 4. Just the leaps and bounds we've made like that. I mean, putting your thinking cap on and getting your crystal ball out. What's the sort of the thoughts about the disruption and the speed of change that will be brought about by AI?
I'm going to be reductive here.
Do it.
Maybe annoyingly reductive.
You could never be annoying, Callum. Come on.
the things that AI is going to impact most obviously first are going to be the things that should never have been human tasks in the first place.
Right.
scheduling a meeting, replying to an email, booking a table, creating the first iteration of a greenfield code base, code commenting, code documentation, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That was all necessary human admin that had to be done to make the world function. If we can have generative tools that are capable of doing those things, we can spend more time on the knowledge and thought work that was always the most valuable component of human endeavor.
Right.
So what AI will not be able to do for a long, long, long time is understand context, the context within the task, within the task is being performed. For instance, if it's writing a code base, there may be several brownfield integrations that need to happen to this code base, or it might need to understand a certain front end treatment. It's very, very hard to explain that to the AI. However, the 4, 8, 16 hours that would have taken you to get to level 2 on the code base can now be done in seconds.
Right.
You can spend more time on the contextual genius understanding that humans can bring to a task. It's the same way with a blog post or an email reply. You must know yourself. You're in the content creation industry, right? To get to V1 of a written blog post, like it used to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours.
Yeah.
To get to V1. V1 is now 10 minutes.
Yes.
And you can then spend the rest of the time editing, re-editing, fact checking, finding new statistics. You can spend all of that time that you used to spend getting to V1, making the actual impact of the post much greater. Yeah. So what AI has done is, it's really Ethan Mollick. This is an Ethan Mollick quote. It's made everybody average immediately. So does that make sense? So everybody can now be average. Very easy. It's what you do with the other 50% of the bell curve that now separates the quality. The quality of code, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But everybody's now average, which is great.
But I think sort of utilizing sort of tools that are there, it does all the sort of the things that are repetitive, time consuming, when deployed properly. And this personal experience, but I think it's a very specific questions, very specific topics that you can sort of get pieces of work out of it fantastically quick, and it's there as a fantastic first draft. I think that's really the key to all this as well. It's not replacement; it's actually sort of doing a lot of the grunt work in the first instance, and then you can actually put a cherry on the top and sort of craft it to the shape and form, putting a personal touch on it, which I think is really important.
Yeah, because it's easy to automate average now. So average, there will just be more average than ever. there will always be that other 50% that are willing to go the extra mile, willing to deliver the extra value, and that's actually going to stand out more. So AI is a great thing. We'll get more average stuff churned out, but all of the people willing to go beyond average will get to average much faster than they were before, so they can spend more time making it brilliant,
and then take it further. So I mean, this is going to sort of a question. So moving on to the AI piece and the changes in the labor market, and how talent and also enterprises are interacting. What are we seeing about the education system? I mean, from a sort of a UK, Scotland perspective there as well. As far as you're concerned, is the education system, is it in the right place? Is it giving would-be entrepreneurs the skills and knowledge that they need to excel? Or has it always been the case that the talent will find a way, learn about doing, and start where it is, use what it's got and move forward?
Glenn, just so you're aware, your audio is worse than ever now. You might want to check those settings. So the education system, I didn't get on well with the education system.
Right.
This is a bit of a white guy with a podcast take, but if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you'll be an entrepreneur. There's no class that you can attend that's going to make you an entrepreneur. You either kind of are it or aren't. Yeah. The best way to produce entrepreneurs is to expose people to entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship so that they can understand what it really means, they can begin to think about people that can capitalize on business opportunities, that want to solve problems, that are creative in their thinking, because you are the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right?
Exactly. Fully agree with that.
So one thing that I know that would have helped me in the education system, if I have even known what an entrepreneur was, if I'd have, because there was always like, I came from a relatively small town in Scotland, and there was always like that one person with a yellow Porsche, and it was like, oh, he owns the carpet factory, and I was like, okay, that concept is entirely alien to me, because I'm being encouraged to get an apprenticeship to become a carpenter. I ended up going on to study engineering, by the way. And then my entrepreneurship journey just happened because I got excited. I just saw the internet, and I was like, that's for me. I'm going to go do that. And then I started working for a business. The founders sold their company, and then I became a freelancer. And at some point in that journey, I got annoyed enough about a problem to build a company to solve it. Here we are with Distributed, right? But the question you asked is, do I think the education system is supporting entrepreneurship? Honestly, I'm not close enough to it to answer the question. I will say that I see more products, services, and opportunities to be exposed to entrepreneurship, to understand entrepreneurial thinking, and to follow an entrepreneurial path now than when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and so on and so forth. So there's more opportunities than ever. There's more exposure than ever. Is there encouragement at a governmental level? I think, again, more than ever. So is it the perfect pure entrepreneurial world and education system? No, but there's way more than there was when I was within the education system. So that has to be a good thing. Would I like to see more? Yes. Do I know exactly what shape that should be? No. But I mean, just having YouTube changes everything. Just having access to YouTube changes everything. You can go into the Y Combinator YouTube channel and learn from literally the best entrepreneurs on the planet how to build a business and what to care about. And you can do that free. And that's a quote that somebody very, very dear to me once said, the entire knowledge of the world is available to you for the price of a library ticket, which at the time was 20 pence.
Yes.
It's your willingness to learn. That is the,
So the same
YouTube.
So the same skills, was going to your local library, getting some books. That is now that sort of the knowledge and the curiosity to find out, to know what you want to do, interests you, and then be able to sort of find out what you need.
I mean, you can rabbit hole in YouTube very easily. And that can lead you to a place that you never thought you'd get to, but it can spark an idea that will change the rest of your life.
Wow, that's exactly what I think everyone's looking for. The potential is there. It's just uncovering the sort of the nuggets of gold within the piles of mud.
Here's a quote for you: to be a good entrepreneur, you just need to be curious.
That's great. I absolutely love that. That's good. Well, we could use that for the headline. I love that. It's a good way to approach it. Excellent. Well, Callum, really appreciate your time. Always value your thoughts and insights on these interesting topics. And let's revisit this very soon, because things are happening very quickly. And of course, the journey of yourself and the journey of Distributed just goes on and on. So really excited to see what the future holds.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure spending time with you. Thank you again.
Always. Thank you.